Hello everyone. In our weekly session on every Friday, we are talking with an acupuncturist, Kimberly, as well as she is a registered dietitian on PCOS. What are the different problems that I think we talked about the symptoms, we talked about the causes, and the last week we talked about how sugar affects PCOS. In this segment today, we are going to talk about diet. Diet is very important in PCOS. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an acupuncturist. I'm just waiting for Kimberly to join and educate all of us or all the women, who are struggling with PCOS. What is it that they should eat and avoid, foods they should eat or foods they should avoid if they are having PCOS symptoms or they have been diagnosed with PCOS. So any questions, anything, like I said, Kimberly should be joining us in a second. And any questions you have, you're welcome to give us the feedback on our sessions or ask questions. So I'm just waiting for Kimberly to join us in 1 second. Let me see if she is there or not. I don't see her. Oh, there she is. I see Kimberly, and she will be, and we will be talking about how diet, different type of diet is important, and Kimberly is a registered dietitian. There you are. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's weekend.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, the topic today is diet.
Yes,
Right?
gluten
So
and dairy.
okay.
So I want to talk about gluten first. It's very controversial. There is no steadfast study that's shown that gluten is bad for PCOS.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of work that needs to be done as far as studies go. But I can tell you that, in practice, that I've had really good results with taking the women that I treat with PCOS off gluten.
Okay.
And I think that's because gluten in general can be an issue for a lot of people. As many as 40% of our population can have a sensitivity to gluten. Not an allergy, not celiac, but just a sensitivity.
Sensitivity meaning like if I eat gluten, what will happen? I'll start breaking out or something?
Well, sensitivity can be very vague. It can be something, it can be retaining water. It could cause inflammation in the gut. It could cause breakouts. It could cause headaches. It could cause fatigue. There isn't one, steadfast symptom of a food sensitivity. It could be something, so ambiguous, like just feeling tired. But women with PCOS tend to have problems with inflammation already. So pulling anything out of the diet that can create inflammation is going to be very beneficial for them. So what happens also is, let's say you're sensitive to gluten and then you eat that and it causes inflammation. Inflammation leads to increased testosterone levels down the line after it goes through all this process.
Yeah.
So, because inflammation leads to increased insulin. Increased insulin leads to, more production of testosterone.
Yeah.
So that's how it can create the infertility with the PCOS. Other things to consider is even if they don't have a sensitivity, if they're not eating organic.
Yeah.
Wheat is sprayed big time with pesticides and herbicides.
Correct.
I'll get to your question about your hair in a second.
Yeah, someone is asking, I don't think it's a woman, it's a man who's asking about the control of hair fall.
Well, this is PCOS, darling, so unless you grow ovaries, you're off topic today.
I know. Maybe we should do a topic on hair fall or something that...
We could totally do a menopause thing, for sure.
I think men are also joining our session, so it's
that we can definitely cover some topics for men for sure.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is the pesticides, they act like estrogen in our body.
Yeah.
And they attach to our estrogen receptors and can create an estrogen dominant situation. So if you don't have a sensitivity to gluten, but you're eating non-organic, you can still have an issue with the gluten. And there was in an interesting study done. There's a doctor in Boston that did a lot of work on children with gluten issues.
Okay.
And he's the one, he discovered that there's this constituent of gluten called zonulin. And he found that when these celiac children were eating gluten, the zonulin created, we have these like little finger-like projections that line our intestines.
Yeah.
And the food goes in top. And it gets digested as it goes down those fingers, and then it gets into our bloodstream. And they're held together by this glue.
Yeah.
So what happens is when we eat gluten, zonulin releases that glue. So now big chunks of food end up getting into the bloodstream without ever going through the digestion process. And that's how we create sensitivities. Because now, this big chunk of food gets in the blood and our body's like, yo, what's that? That's a foreign invader. We need to attack. And you can develop sensitivities to all kinds of food then, not just gluten. So he found this while he was researching these kids with celiac, and he wanted to see if that happened in normal people as well.
Yeah.
And he was shocked. He was shocked to find out that the zonulin did the same thing to healthy people, and it lasted up to 48 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so gluten's not, great for anybody.
Yeah.
And there's back when I stopped eating gluten 15 years ago, there was no, good alternatives. But today, there's tons, there's so many good gluten-free stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, but you do have to make sure, like, if you're cutting the gluten and you're going gluten-free, you want to make sure you're not just still eating too much starchy food,
Okay.
because remember with PCOS, there's insulin sensitivity issues. Correct. And eating so many starchy carbs is not good. But once in a while, you can do it. And there's so many good alternatives out there. I do have on my Instagram, one of my posts, I put a lot of my favorite brands for gluten-free stuff. So they're welcome to go for that.
Yeah.
And then dairy is the same thing, because you can have a sensitivity to dairy, and it's going to do the same thing, create the inflammation, break down the gut, and cause problems that way. But also it can cause problems when people don't have the proper enzymes to digest the dairy, and which is lactase, and they can't break down the sugar in dairy called lactose. So this can lead to a lot of just indigestion and gassiness and pain and discomfort. And if you're bad enough, it can lead to vomiting. So it can be serious, the lactose intolerant.
Got it.
Yeah. So, those are the reasons that we try to keep the dairy and the gluten out. Yeah. And we try to keep them out for 4 weeks. And then after 4 weeks, you can re-challenge yourself to see if there's an issue that comes up once you eat it. And then you'll know for sure if you're sensitive to it or not. Because when you clean it out of your diet completely and then you challenge yourself, you're going to know. You're going to know right away, because you're going to feel crappy and horrible. And you're going to be like, okay, yeah, this is an issue, so I should just keep this out permanently. But yeah, that's it, Okay. And then
so is there the question came on hair fall? Is the hair fall related to PCOS in any way? I mean, just a general question. Someone is asking this hair fall, but is it related at all? If someone has a PCOS, do they?
Yes, because I'll tell you why hair fall can be related. There's a lot of PCOS women that have thyroid problems. Okay. So thyroid issues can definitely cause hair loss. And also remember, women who have PCOS tend to produce too much testosterone.
Correct.
So that can lead to a male pattern baldness.
Yeah.
And yes, you can do things to stop that from happening. And it's all, there isn't just one thing. I can't tell you like, oh, take this supplement and it'll fix it. Because it's not about that. It's about fixing lifestyle and diet. you have to exercise, you have to find ways to manage stress, whether it's
Yeah.
meditation or yoga or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
then, you know, diet is a big component as well, because rebalancing your hormones is all about rebalancing life and, you know, diet. So,
Yeah. Got it.
and along the way, we can help with supplementation at the beginning, but we're not going to just like transcribe a Western medicine pill for, you know, a nutrient and just keep doing that. We have to address the root cause, which is an imbalance with, you know, lifestyle.
Got it. So what should we load up with? What kind of foods someone who has a PCOS, what should they eat? We talked
So
about yeah.
For PCOS, I really like the paleo style diet, which is, you know, it's mostly vegetables and proteins with, you know, 1 or 2 pieces of fruit a day.
Okay.
They tend to do really well with that. I'm not a big fan of the keto diet. I know a lot of people say that they've lost a ton of weight, but I don't know a lot of people that keep the weight off. And it's also puts a lot of stress on the liver. And women with PCOS already have some methylation issues sometimes and detoxification problems. So the keto can kind of amplify that. So, but I do like paleo. I love paleo for PCOS.
Okay. Any questions? I know quite a few people are joining us. I mean, the hair fall, hopefully, you know, we answered that. Thank you. Then we got a thumbs up, so that's good.
Okay.
And the hair fall, we can have a separate session for men hair fall, right, Kimberly?
Yeah, and well, you never know. He might be asking for his wife or something, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Men come on and ask for that. But yeah, the hair loss is definitely part of PCOS, and that's all about balancing the hormone levels and the diet.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add? Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up this session?
No, if anybody has any questions, now's the time. Otherwise, I think we're good.
Yeah. All right. So they said thank you so much. Okay. Well, next week I think we have I forget what topic we have.
It's supplements. It's next week is like things you can take to help rebalance.
Yes. So she'll be talking about that. So tune in next week, same time. We were late a little bit today, but around 9:30 Pacific time. You know, and I don't know what time it is in the rest of the world, but
for me it's 12:30.
Yeah, for you, I know. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for joining, and thank you everyone for watching us. Please give us your feedback about our sessions, what other topics you'd like to see. We are trying to bring a lot of bite-sized information into our Instagram account. With that, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
All right, guys, take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.